and like a busted up Shaq. I think Shaq was almost out. And that was the best free agents they ever got him. And I think when he looked at the Boston team and saw Garnett and saw Allen and saw Pierce and saw Rondo, he was like, dude, I have to put together my own team like that to beat these guys. And that's what he did. He put together the Heat. They beat Boston, and they never looked back, right? Went to 4, went 2-2. Really fun to watch them. LeBron got to that finals and played really bad against the Mavericks, and the Mavericks ended up winning. Said he got some advice, or talked to Jason Kidd after the game, got some little advice. Kidd reassured him, like, you're going to get a championship. Don't stress. You need to, just get focused or whatever. Cool. The next year they go play Oklahoma City. They make it through. They play the Thunder. They beat the Thunder. That's the young Durant and Westbrook and Harden team, which is like super talented but just a little young. Mm-hmm. And at that time, LeBron's really kind of in his prime, and that's probably like that or the next year is like prime time LeBron. Like if you ever want to go back watch like YouTube highlights and stuff like that, like Wade is prime-ish and LeBron's prime, because they used to do this stuff where they'd run these full court. They would rebound real quick, and LeBron starts sprinting, and Wade would chuck it down the court, and LeBron would just dunk it, and they were overwhelming teams. The next year they beat a good Spurs team, and then the next year after that they lost to a good Spurs team. And then we start the Cavs runs where they play the Warriors 4 years in a row. And so I think it's very strategic. And, he's made he's played at a high level, except for that first finals, or it'd be his second finals, but the first one in this series of 8, he didn't play great. And Dallas had an awesome game plan against him, and the other guys didn't really step up too much. So it is awesome. It's amazing, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm a bigger football guy, and I mean, what Tom Brady has done in his 15-year career is amazing. And I mean, that's not 8 in a row of winning the AFC. I mean, I'd say in my lifetime, probably the closest thing I've seen is, when Buffalo went to 4 straight in the early 90s.
Yeah, we've talked about that before. I don't know, but not on the show. Well, I don't know if we might have talked about it on the show, but that's impressive.
Yeah.
You didn't,
even though they don't win the Super Bowl.
You didn't win a championship. It's still impressive
to win the AFC 4 years in a row.
I mean, championships are what matter, but you can still look at other things that happen in the game and go, dang, that's pretty cool. Like, man, so him doing this, it's huge. If he stays in the East, depending on where he goes, I don't see him missing another finals next year. I mean, really.
Yeah.
The team that's going to step up in those roles is Boston and Philly, and there's rumors that he's going to Philly.
Yeah.
So if he goes to Philly...
He went to Philly with Embiid.
Well, because I think what he does is LeBron looks over at the West and says, Rockets are looking to land Paul George. The Warriors are still together, unless Durant opts out, which he could. But
I don't see that happening.
I don't see that either. I think Durant wants rings more than money. So I think that, I don't know if LeBron goes to Philly, he'll be back in the finals next year. But it is impressive. I think even the people that aren't a huge fan of LeBron can still say, man, that is pretty nice. And you could say the East is weaker.
Yeah, but it's still, you still dominated that conference for 8 years, and it's not like he's doing it, especially this year, with a ton of guys that help him a lot. Kevin Love's all right. We've talked about that, but after Kevin Love, in my mind, there's a significant drop off on that roster.
Yeah, it's a big cast of
just role players.
Yep,
guys that do what they need to do.
A little bit, yeah. Some of the guys overpaid a little bit, and then guys that are really streaky. Like a J.R. Smith, super streaky. Tristan, distracted with the Khloe Kardashian, all that junk. So stuff. He's actually, you know what? I say that about Tristan played really, really well these last 2 games they won. So maybe he's past all that now, because I know he cheated on Khloe and all that junk. But anyways, super impressive, and I'm going to be starts tomorrow night. I'm going to enjoy watching it. I think LeBron's going to have great games. And I think anybody on the Warriors, probably two or three of those guys will have great games, and the Warriors will 4 games to 1. You got 4 games to 2.
Yeah, I definitely think it's going to be fun to watch. I've always enjoyed kind of watching part of the NBA Finals at least every year. But, since we've started the podcast, I've followed the NBA more this year. So I think I'm going to enjoy the finals more.
Good.
Just because I kind of know what's going on a little bit with some of these guys. So, but yeah, so that's, very impressive. I mean, I've got a Jordan 1. I know we can argue on that all day long, but LeBron winning 8 conference championships in a row, it's the most impressive sports streak I've seen in my lifetime.
Yeah.
Like I said, second would probably be the Buffalo Bills going to 4 Super Bowls. What Tom Brady's done is very impressive, but it's not been, 8 conference championships in a row or 4 conference championships in a row.
I would say we're talking like streaks, just like winning games and stuff like that. I would say something that's outside the box on that would be like baseball. What is it, Cal Ripken?
Playing all those games, starting all those games.
That's pretty good too.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't think about that. Yeah,
but yeah, we're talking about games. But yeah, that
Brett Favre, his starting streak too.
Yep.
But I mean, this to me is the most impressive thing I've seen.
Pretty cool
to dominate a conference 8 years in a row. So
I'll throw one more thing out there. I think a lot of guys, not a lot of people, some people, they get really, when LeBron comes up for some reason, get really turned off. I'm not 100% sure why, because they're big Jordan. Usually, it's big Jordan fans or whatever. My thing is this: for a little brief period of time, I really just didn't want to watch Kobe. I don't know why, because as soon as I started watching him, I fell in love with his game, because it was like watching Mike again. Really,
yeah.
He copied that guy's game, and once you start, I watched Kobe Bryant like pretty hardcore last maybe 10 years of his career. And this dude, I mean, he's a killer, right? And just throwing out there, he has a new show or whatever where he has a new show, and I can't remember what it's called. And what he does is he watches a game, he dissects a game, and he acts like he is one of the players and says, this is why I'm going to do this. This is why I do this. This is why I do this.
Oh,
and
nice.
He's got a new book coming out, too. It was like The Way I Play or something like that. And he breaks down his whole career on like how he played the game.
And
I love Kobe. I love Kobe Bryant.
I mean, there are some people that are so obsessed with the LeBron Jordan debate that they can't stop and appreciate how great LeBron is.
Oh, dude!
I mean, I'm a Jordan guy, but when I watch LeBron play, I mean, I have to stop and appreciate like this guy's pretty good. I mean, it's not like Jordan is a 1 and LeBron's like 10. I mean,
right.
it's a close debate. I mean, I see both sides of it.
You know what? I actually do too.
So you have to appreciate the greatness that we're seeing right now in LeBron James.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that goes with every sport. Honestly, if you and we're sports fans, if you like dislike someone so much, you're going to stop watching. You are missing out.
Yeah, I mean, like Tom Brady. I honestly can't stand Tom Brady. But I understand he is a great quarterback.
And when he is playing, I want to watch him.
Yeah.
Because I like watching him go through progressions and do. He's super smart quarterback. Not a huge fan of Peyton when he was in Denver. But man, he's a field general.
But he was great.
Yes.
I mean, so I'm
going to watch that. I'm going to watch that, of course.
You had to. So
I just wanted to make that point. I think it's a good point.
Yeah. So
people, don't miss out on it.
Those of you guys who may be interested in that, just take this time, take these finals. Don't debate who's better. Just enjoy LeBron and how truly great he is.
Also, appreciate how good these Warriors are.
Yeah, true.
It's freaking good, man.
So, kind of shifting gears here now. Was a big NFL signing either today or yesterday. But Brandon Marshall signs with the Seattle Seahawks. Do you pulling up the details on that contract?
Yeah, and I don't know. Yeah, I want to see the details. This got to be cheap, right?
I mean, I would think so. I would think he's not going to get a big time deal right now.
Yeah,
probably very incentive laid.
Size matters. Oh, that's funny. Let me see the details of the contract. I don't know. I am surprised. Well, I don't know if I'm surprised, but Marshall gets the
signed before Dez.
And it's good. And it's good for the Seahawks, right? Because the Seahawks,
they needed another receiver.
Especially after losing. They lost Jimmy Graham.
Mm-hmm.
He's another big body guy.
Yeah,
But anyways, yeah, I guess the bigger thing about that is I don't have the contract numbers here.
Okay.
But anyways, the bigger thing about it is that he did get signed above Dez. When I would, I think Dez is more talented. Dez has a lot of drops, which drives me crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But I was thinking for a minute, like, man, the Packers should sign him. And then I'm like, well, if the Packers are going to do that, and this goes to what Aaron Rodgers said this week,
why would they drop Jordy?
They drop Jordy? Jordy got better hands.
I'm not saying that Dez Bryant. I'm going to compare him to Quincy Carter here for a minute, but just roll with me, okay?
I'm rolling with you, man.
When Dallas cut Quincy Carter finally, then it came out. He didn't really get signed either. It came out months later, maybe even a year later, that he had a drug problem and he had failed a couple tests in-house. Which I know the NFL policy is different now than it was then. And I'm not saying Dez Bryant has a drug problem. But maybe there is a problem that the Cowboys are not leaking. Because the Cowboys they could have thrown Quincy Carter under the bus and said, hey, we're releasing this guy. He's got a drug problem. He's failed a couple tests. We've seen signs. And they did not do that at the time. It came out way later after the fact. So, and I'm not saying, like I said, I'm not saying Dez Bryant's on drugs, but maybe there's a locker room issue or an issue with a coach or a training staff member, or we won't hear about it either, especially because as far as Jerry goes, he keeps that stuff in house.
Keeps it in house, and that's why players like playing for him.
Yep, they do, and so that is why players love Jerry Jones. So, maybe there is another issue, but all those NFL GMs talk. And so if one of those guys called Jerry and said, hey, let's deal with Dez, he's going to be honest with them because those guys are going to, tell. But he's like, hey, we don't want this to get out. But
yeah, a lot of stuff you would have to say is like, hey, this is off the record, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then, so I don't know.
And so I'm by no means insinuating Dez Bryant has a drug problem. But I'm just saying there's probably something behind the scenes that we as fans don't know that's going on. There's got to be more to the story.
See, I was thinking, I'm looking him up right now just to see if there's any new news on him. And basically the new news is that Stephen Jones is out there saying, I don't know why.
I don't know why nobody's signing him.
But I'm like, I know, and it might be like, but maybe no behind the scenes stuff. The dude is making money.
Yeah, he did turn down a contract with Baltimore.
That's right.
Maybe there's been other offers that he's like, no, or maybe he only wants to go to a handful of teams.
I thought the 49ers might be a good pick.
Yeah, might be a good stop. But, okay, so that was kind of some NFL news. And then you said you saw an article where the Royals were talking about that they might even possibly start dealing players.
So I saw a thing that said it's I can't remember what I saw. I saw it on Twitter or something like that. It's like an MLB source or whatever says that the Royals have already been like, okay,
we'll entertain offers.
So obviously the number one guy to be traded is Moustakas.
Yeah,
he's on a 1-year contract. The contract is super cheap. There's a team option for next year on that contract. So a winning team could exercise that option next year and keep him as their third baseman. And it's like $12 million or $13 million, which isn't bad, especially for what players are getting now.
Not a baseball contract, yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is now, Moose, this offseason especially we learned teams don't want to sign guys for 10-year, 12, 13-year deals anymore. It'll still happen. Like Bryce Harper and
but most
Trout.
Most guys are not.
No, you won't see any. You'll see like the top 2 or 3 players maybe get that, but that's it.
And we've talked about it before. I'm all aboard the Royals sending anybody they can get value for now. Send them on. Hey, I'm a Royals fan. I like Moose, but I'm not going to be that guy that says, no, I want Moose to play his whole career here in Kansas City. The rest of his career here in Kansas City. Nah, if we can get value for him, because he's not going to be here in another 4 or 5 years anyway. When we're going to be good again.
Yeah, rebuilding will take about 4 or 5 years.
Let's get some value for him. Get a young guy we can train up.
Exactly. Case in point, I talk about it all the time. Houston did that.
Houston did